Hey YouTube land, Conjurus here doing another action figure review, and this time I'm doing a figure review for Marvel Legends 3 3/4 inch figures. Now, I have the box for one set, but I don't have the box for the second set, so the figures I'm going to do a quick review of, well hopefully a quick review of, is the Doctor Strange movie figure, so it's the Benedict Cumberbatch Doctor Strange 3 3/4 inch figures, and the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 Yondu and Star-Lord figures. Unfortunately I don't have the box for the Star-Lord one, but it comes, or for the Guardians set, but it comes in the same style packaging as the Doctor Strange. So you have the Doctor Strange logo up on the top there, and you have the figures are in a window style box packaging. You got a picture of Benedict Cumberbatch on the side there, on both sides, and then if you flip around to the back of the box, it shows the figures that are in. So you got this normal Doctor Strange, and you have an astral Doctor Strange. So on the little write up it says, summoning the forces of magic and mysticism, Doctor Strange can take multiple forms as a master of mystic arts. Master of the mystic arts. So the figure itself is quite nice, and as you can see on the bottom of the box, or the bottom of the card back, it shows the also available, which is the Yondu and Star-Lord set, and then just on the bottom of the box it's all the legalese stuff. And you got Marvel Legends series. Originally these would have been Marvel Universe figures back in the day, but then they've been rebranded a few times. They were Marvel Legends Infinites at one stage, and now they're just part of the regular Marvel Legends series. So all in all, I'll go on to the Doctor Strange figures first. So this is the main figure that I got the set for, which is the non-astral projection form. He does have a removable cloak. Can't remember what the cloak is called. There is a specific name for it because it's part of his magic items, as well as the necklace that he has. And for the life of me, I can't remember the names of any of his gear. I know he's it's been a while since I've seen a movie, and I don't know much about the character bar the movie itself. I know he turned up a few times in some of the kind of comic stuff, or in the, not comics, in the cartoons. I think he turned up in the Spider-Man cartoon once or twice, and maybe the Fantastic Four one. But off the top of my head I don't remember too much about the character, other than how he gets his powers. And then the other figure in the set is the exact same figure, just done in this opaque. It's not fully translucent, so it's sort of an opaque whitish plastic. An opaque clear plastic. It has some white paint apps, so for the medallion it's painted white, and for his eyes they're just whited out. So he doesn't have any, he doesn't have the cloak, he just has the exact same sculpt. So I'll go through the articulation on the non-transparent one because it'll be a bit easier to see. So removing the cloak, his head is on a ball joint, and it has a hinge, so it can go up and back, so it can go down pretty good, back pretty decently, and can rotate side to side. No tilt on the head. Single rotation on the waist. Ball jointed arms, so it can go out and swivel all the way around. Single jointed elbows. He has hip articulation that go forward and back there. His skirt piece is a good bit rubbery, so it doesn't hinder too much. It does hinder the back a bit, but for going forward it doesn't hinder that too much. And then he has double jointed knees, and a swivel at the ankle and a hinge at the ankle, so you can get some good posing. The one thing I think is a bit disappointing on this figure, and it's the same with the astral form because they're identical figure, is the wrist articulation. It would have been nice to give him some wrist articulation, given that he is a sorcerer and that he uses his hands for doing the conjuring and stuff like that. It would have been nice to be able to swivel his hands so that you could kind of put one up here, one underneath, kind of in a casting kind of pose. You can sort of do it, but it's not too good. and then the cloak just fits over it. It's a kind of pliable rubbery material, so it doesn't exactly you can't exactly pose it in any position that you want it to. But as I said, it's the same issue with the astral form projection figure. He doesn't have any articulation. He does have, if I can just, he doesn't have any upper thigh rotation either, which isn't too big of a deal. And moving on to the Star-Lord figure, he's the only figure that really comes with accessories, in the sense that they're kind of separate. He comes with his trademark pistols that you see him use in the movie. Both of these series of figures are based on their movie adaptations. So this is the Chris Pratt style Star-Lord with his helmet. It is a shame that they didn't give you an alternate head without the mask on, but I'll get into it in a minute what you can do to have an unmasked version of it. So articulation wise, he has similar articulation to Doctor Strange, so the arms are on a ball joint, can go up, can rotate all around, single jointed elbows. His jacket is a rubbery material, can be removed, but if you remove it he still has the sleeves for the jacket on, so it would look a little odd, as he has a grey kind of t-shirt on underneath. Legs are on ball joints, can go forward, out the side a bit, a little bit hindered by the back articulation, or by the butt. It does have nice double jointed knees, and does have the same kind of hinge and ball joint socket or rocker joint on the ankles as the Doctor Strange figure. I do like the sculpt of this figure, it's quite nicely done. The helmet is really nicely done, and as you might have seen, the actual pistols have storage. There's these little tabs that stick out on the side of either hip, and they're not too big, so they don't get in the way. And you can store his pistols on the side of his legs, just like in the movie. So that's him. And for the Yondu figure is a great figure, but it has one glaring issue. So articulation wise, he has the same articulation as the Star-Lord figure. Now you can take off his coat as well. The interesting thing about Yondu is that the coat that he's wearing is a slightly different red to his jacket, to the waistcoat he's wearing. So if you do take off the waistcoat, or the coat on this one, his arms still match the plastic underneath, so it doesn't get in the way too much. You can have it without the coat if you wish, or the Ravager jacket, because the colouring is all similar. He has the same style ankles, double hinge ankles, and the rockers, rotation and on the shoulders, and single hinged elbows. He has ball jointed heads. Now the one thing about I should have mentioned on the Star-Lord is he has a ball jointed head, but he doesn't have that extra articulation point that the Doctor Strange does. And the one glaring thing about Yondu is they sculpted him with a holster for his whistle, or for the arrow, the kind of I wouldn't say magic arrow, but the arrow that he's able to control by whistling. But there's no actual, you don't actually get that accessory with him. You can clearly see there's a hole, goes right the way through. It looks like they were intending to give him one, but unfortunately, for whatever reason, they never actually gave him the accessory. Maybe it was a quality control issue, or a health and safety thing for kids who picked it up, that it was too small and they might swallow it or something and get lodged in their throat because it's an arrow. I don't know, but they never gave poor Yondu his arrow. He does have the larger headpiece, like he has in the movie that you see him wear, and the face sculpt is great. It does look a good bit like Michael Rooker, which is pretty cool. I know the 6-inch figure that they did for the Marvel Legends line looks dead on for Michael Rooker, and it's really, really cool. So getting back to Star-Lord, as I said, if you wanted a unmasked version, of Star-Lord. There's probably people out there that do cast heads for Chris Pratt that you could get, or alternatively you could get this figure. This was the Jurassic World Owen Grady, I think he's called. Is it Owen Grady? I think it's he's Owen anyway. And he came with the motorcycle and the Raptor blue, and it's the Chris Pratt style head sculpt. Now, it's not a brilliant likeness for Chris Pratt. It does look a little bit like him from certain angles, but you can pop the head off. It's just on the ball joint, just like the one for the Marvel Legends. Just pop the head off for the Marvel Legends one. It sits a little loose, but you can still get it into decent poses, because the ball joint on the Jurassic World one is a little bit larger. But you can get, oops, sorry, if I can just bring them into focus, you can get a quite nice looking Chris Pratt style Star-Lord or Peter Quill, unmasked Peter Quill head for the Star-Lord figure if you wish. It does work quite nicely. So I'll just pop the standard head back on. So there he is with the standard Star-Lord mask head. And just for size comparison, I do have that Owen Grady figure, which I'll put in here. He's a slight bit hard to stand because he's only 5 points of articulation, so you have him there. And this is an older Marvel. I think this figure, this Cyclops, was actually from the Wolverine Origins movie. I can't remember off the top of my head which line he came with. I know he's another one of Hasbro's 4-inch scale or 3¼ scale Marvel Universe kind of figures, but I'm pretty sure he wasn't an actual Marvel Universe figure. Pretty sure he came with the Marvel or the Wolverine Origins figures. And then just for another size comparison, I have a good old trusty Mars Trooper from the Rise of Cobra line. If he will stand for me is the question, because they had tricky standing, and as you can see they scale up pretty nicely. So there you go, guys. As I said, just a quick video review. All in all, I do like these figures. They do have minor issues. As I said, accessory wise they could have been nicer. The extra head sculpt for the Peter Quill figure would have been nice. The wrist articulation for Doctor Strange would have been a nice touch. I mean, it's kind of silly having a guy who uses magic and conjuring with his wrist or with his hands and stuff, not to be able to pose these hands that he's making look like he's actually conjuring magic. But there you go. So there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed my quick video review. As I say, my videos, please feel free to like the video, please feel free to comment, and please feel free to subscribe to my channel for more videos. There you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed.